Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. And you know what? Let's ask the question, who was Han Solo as an action figure? So when the Star Wars Black Series first came out, this was basically the Han Solo action figure. Now, I think it was a pretty good representation at the time. And you can see there, you got the iconic nose and everything and the head sculpt. And I think that looks pretty good. Then later on, to update the head sculpt, when they finally came out with this Bespin Han Solo, which was the Exegorth Escape. It was a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. They did update the head sculpt. Now, I talked to them at the time, and they said what they did was they did they got a scan of Harrison Ford, a new scan, and of course he was much older, but they sort of did some de-aging on it. And I think that is a pretty good likeness. So let's just take a look at those profiles. Look pretty decent. And for a long time, this Han Solo was kind of like the ideal New Hope Han Solo. And then, of course, later on, they came out with the Return of the Jedi version of Han Solo, which is the Endor version. And you know, I said that and it sounds like indoor, but it's Endor. And it was basically from Return of the Jedi, where he's in the jungle outfit. So there you had a series of action figures based on 3 different movies from Han Solo. But none of these figures, in my opinion, ever really captured the likeness of Harrison Ford, the actor. Now, we know that Harrison Ford also played Indiana Jones in those movies, and when Hasbro came out with the Indiana Jones line of figures, I think they did a fairly decent job of capturing Harrison Ford's likeness on the action figure. Now, it helped on this figure that he wears a hat, and it kind of covers up some of the features. But anyways, if you take a look back at the Star Wars action figures, what we've really been missing is a definitive New Hope figure. Because honestly, if you look at this and you didn't know this was Harrison Ford, supposed to be Harrison Ford from A New Hope, you might think, that's not Han Solo. Now, capturing a likeness is kind of difficult. Now, this is my Selfie Series figure, and I think overall it's fairly decent, and especially from certain angles, it really does capture my likeness. But there are some views like this one that I don't really think it captures me. And because it was just a set of hair to choose from, you know, it was a little bit more difficult. But anyways, luckily for us, Hasbro decided to release a New Hope action figure with an updated head sculpt. And what we want to do is we want to take it out of the box, compare it to what we had before, and see which one actually looks like Harrison Ford. All right, so since this is our first time taking a look at this action figure from A New Hope, let's take a look at Han Solo's blaster. That is really nice. I think it looks pretty good. And we'll take a look at his holster. So there's his holster, and you can see he's got this piece right here, which looks really cool. I love the paint apps on it. They did a really good job on that. And yeah, I think overall that looks pretty decent. So the pant leg is just like what you would expect. It's the blue with the red stripe, and he's got those boots, which is really, really nice. And then he's got his outfit right here, which is this nice shirt with this collar all bent over and stuff like that, and his vest. I think that looks really great. So let's take a closer look at the head sculpt. So there is the head sculpt with the hair, and I got to tell you, I really do get Han Solo vibes from this figure. I think it looks pretty good. I like the way that they did the eyes on it. I think this figure overall just looks fantastic. Let's just take a closer look at the 2 head sculpts side by side. So you can see a little of the resemblance in this one, but I think this really does capture that look that Harrison Ford had in A New Hope, and I think the hair just makes this figure. It does look fantastic. It looks more realistic. And even the collar on the shirt just looks way better. You can see that it's not really attached to his neck or anything like that because he's got that lower neck joint. And this one is all molded all the way down. So that is some great updating. I love the natural look of the shirt here. Looks fantastic. Even on the body. It just looks like they did way better job. Now, I don't have his gun belt on this figure, but what I wanted to show you was on the older one, it had this upper body or upper leg swivel, which this figure does not have. It does not have that break point anymore. And the older figure had double jointed knees, and this one has that basic Star Wars Black Series knee bend, but I almost appreciate it better because you don't see the break so much in the leg, and the pant looks a little bit more natural. So it does have a swivel at the boot, which is nice, and this one really did not, because you can see the peg and like right there, and there's no pegs in that leg, and the boots look pretty decent. So overall, you gave up a little bit of articulation in the leg, but I think overall you have truly gained a lot of details in the outfit and in the overall look of the figure. I think this new Han Solo figure really does look great, and he's got this really interesting hand, which is kind of like pointing, and I think that really does add some character to this figure. As we compare this figure with this picture of Harrison Ford, what do you guys think? You let me know in the comments. Did Hasbro knock it out of the park with this update to the Han Solo action figure from A New Hope, or are you just happy to continue to have your imposter in your collection? Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments, and as always, everybody, have a fantastic day.